Alright everyone, welcome back to the Bet Vetted channel. I'm Al, your host, and this is the Premier League Pick'em show for Match Day 4, and these are the games being played on Saturday, September 2nd, 2023, and on September 3rd, 2023. We got I believe 6 games on Saturday and 3 games on Sunday. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so. It helps us out a lot, helps me out a lot. Takes a lot of work to make these videos, and of course I do it by my own volition, but I want to help you guys make some money. So please consider hitting that like button and that notification bell. But without any further ado, let's get started. This again is the Premier League Pick'em for Match Day 4. Alrighty, first up here we got Sheffield United going up against Everton. This is the 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time game. I learned something new here. EDT, Eastern Daylight Time. Use that during the spring and summer. EST, which is Eastern Standard Time, use that during the fall and winter. Never knew that. Learned something new doing this, doing these videos. But anyways, this is the matchup of two winless teams in the Premier League. Sheffield United lost to Man City in a game that was closer than it probably had any right being. They actually came with the equalizer towards the around the I don't know, it was like the 70th minute, but of course then Man City came right down the pitch and scored a go-ahead goal to make it 2-1, and that was a goal by Rodri, and that, they never looked back from that point. So now Everton, now we're talking Premier League here. The lost a 1-0 game against the Wolves last week at home at Goodison Park. They also lost to Aston Villa in match day 2, 4-0, and in their match day 1 they lost to Fulham. Sheffield United has played all their games at Bramall Lane. Now these two squads did play a EFL matchup this week as well, with Sheffield United going down to Lincoln City. Everton pulled off the victory of the second round matchup against Doncaster, so they do come into this game with some momentum, at least some momentum. Not necessarily in the Premier League, but in the Carabao Cup they did have that victory. Looking at this matchup, I go again to my favorite book for betting on soccer, and it really is the best book out there, and everyone needs to take a look at it. That bets soccer. Or bets, international football, and look at the match combos section. And both of these teams, you look at them historically, low scoring affairs, 0-0, 1-0, matches of that particular ilk, that sort, low scoring affairs again. I probably see something that's similar to that. Both of these teams do struggle to score. I mentioned again in passing, I do like the pickup of Gustavo Hammer from what's escaping me now, Coventry City. Love that pickup. I love that player. He's really one of the most underrated players in the Premier League at this point. Everton, both of these teams do struggle to score goals, but I see them both getting on the board in this one. I see this being something like a 1-1 game, with either team struggling to get ahead of one another, of the other team. So if you go to the double chance in both teams to score, I do give the advantage to Sheffield United after their now again, they didn't play with their typical starting squad or lineup against Lincoln City in the EFL Cup. So I do like Sheffield, or I give Sheffield United the edge in this matchup because it is at Bramall Lane. So I would look at the Sheffield United or tie, so the Sheffield United double chance, and both teams to score. You get that at plus 180 at MGM, bet MGM. I mean, that's a lot of bang for your dollar, a lot of value, and I think that has a really, really good chance of winning for you. So again, Sheffield United double chance and both teams to score, and that's my final pick for this one here. Next up, it's Brentford going up against Bournemouth. Brentford at home. I like Brentford in this game. I think the even without Ivan Toney, they have more attacking prowess than Bournemouth is able to defend goals. In fact, that's the area in which Bournemouth has probably had the most trouble is in their back end and conceding goals, which they've done at a steady pace this year. Bournemouth is winless so far this season. Now we're only at match day 4, so we're only 3 games in. Bournemouth has lost to. They opened up the season with a draw to West Ham. West Ham, which has gone on to play pretty well, so that's actually a decent result for them. However, they then lost to Liverpool at Anfield, lost to Tottenham at home. They did pick up a win this week against Swansea City in the Carabao Cup. The same can be said for Brentford, which picked up a win in the Carabao Cup against Newport. Now, Brentford, on the other hand, came to a draw with Tottenham at home in match day 1. They beat Fulham at Craven Cottage in match day 2 and came to a draw with Crystal Palace at home last week. I think what we're going to see here is Brentford with the controlling possession for the most part and steady attack on their side. Bournemouth constantly on the back foot, or at least on the back foot to a greater extent than they are on the front foot. So I'm looking at, rather than looking at the double chances with Brentford, I want to look for them to win. Again, I go to my trusty little app, BetMGM. Just because the options that they have, and I should check the other apps because when we're looking at just the money line plus the goals, many of the other apps offer that. The only other app to offer double chance plus goals is that I know of is DraftKings, but there's options that BetMGM offers, including double chance plus both teams to score, which I really, really like. That's a good option to have. That's not offered at DraftKings, so just keep that in mind. But I would look for Brentford on the money line plus over 2.5 goals. I could easily see this being a 2-1 game, 3-0. I actually don't like 3-0, but I'm betting on a 2-1 because I do see probably Bournemouth scoring a goal in this game. So Brentford has conceded some goals this year. Brentford is one of them teams that kind of more upper middle table. They've established a presence in the Premier League over the last couple seasons, something similar to Crystal Palace. So let's go with Brentford on the money line plus over 2.5 goals. So that little parlay there. That's my final pick. All right, next game, it's Burnley going up against Tottenham. Burnley, recently promoted to the Premier League, still looking for their first victory. They're winless. Unfortunately, all 3 teams that have come up from the championship are all winless. Not looking very good. Not looking like the Fulhams of this year. Rather, they look like they're going to head back down at the end of the year. Which with Burnley, that would be a surprise, and that would be contrary to what the the talking heads and all those guys, those Mr. Know-it-alls thought was going to happen this year. I really like Burnley because I like company. Their manager, I think he's a good manager, but they're just adjusting to life in the Premier League. Tottenham, on the other hand, they're under new leadership of Postecoglou, and he's really kind of united the forces over there, shored up the squad, and they did a good job. Their business, even with letting go of Harry Kane, which is surprising to say, that they've been able to shore up the ranks even though Kane's gone. And that's because of guys like James Maddison in their attacking end. He's done a really, really good job at being a leader on that team, being a playmaker, both in facilitating with the sound deliveries into the box, and with his own scoring abilities. So I like Tottenham in this game. One thing I was reading up on is in the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup this week, while Burnley won, Tottenham lost to Fulham in penalties. It came at cost for Burnley. I think they lost three starting caliber players in that game, and that's going to hurt that team quite a bit. I think, at least in the short term, and especially in this game here. So I like Tottenham. Looking at a couple different options here. Looking at Tottenham to win to nil. So that obviously that would be with the idea that Burnley doesn't get on the board. And that's at plus 250 if I'm looking at BetMGM. Now, if I'm looking at the money line plus the goals, I think what you could look at is Tottenham plus under 3.5. Is there risk there? Sure, there is, because just in case this turns into like a 3-1 affair or something like that, then you get burned on that. But I think 2-1, 3-0, 2-0, that's more likely, and you're going to make your money's worth on this at plus 185. So let's go with Tottenham on the money line plus under 3.5 goals. All right, Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. Here's where things get a little bit tricky. Excuse me there. I bit my tongue, actually. Yeah, that sucks. I hate biting my tongue. Let's look at this game, and I mentioned here's where things get a little bit tricky, and this is the reason why. Chelsea is overpriced here. Now, you can still find value in this. I like a lot of these games for value this week. There's a lot of games that I think are going to go the way that I think they are. Now, I say that all the time, and I end up with egg on my face. But I really think this time we may hit the jackpot. But Chelsea is overpriced, and that's because of the players that they have, the money that they spend, the history that they have as a successful, upper Big Six team in the Premier League. A lot of times it's hard to find value because really they should be discounted here, as a team that has been meddling along, that really hasn't been playing all that well. They got one win, one draw, one loss, they got that loss to West Ham a couple weeks back that really where they got embarrassed by West Ham, even though West Ham probably only had 25% possession of the ball. That's how they win games. Looking at this, I like Nottingham Forest. I think really Nottingham Forest has established themselves as a at least middle table team, and a team that's probably not going to get relegated this year. So they played well against Arsenal. They played well against Man United last week. And they're a team that that has some decent players, and they can score the goals. I mean, they're one of those teams that they're kind of just meandering along, and then all of a sudden, okay, here they go in transition, and they score a quick goal. So it's like, it's weird with Nottingham Forest. It's like they can score goals when they want to. It's just a matter of when they want to. But Chelsea, on the other hand, listen, I really like the pickup of Nicholas Jackson. I think that's good business over there for them. That guy is constantly just galloping down the field and making those runs, and he's quick. It's just a matter of him being a bit more clinical in the final third and being able to score goals. But I think he's going to. He already has scored one this year. I really like that player. Obviously, I like Enzo Fernandez. I like Chelsea. I like their squad, and I think they're going to get better as the season goes along. I just can't pick them to win this game. Looking at how Nottingham Forest played Arsenal, who I think is a superior club, superior squad at this point, relative to Chelsea. I want to pick Chelsea to win. They're at Stamford Bridge. They should win this game. It's Chelsea over the last year, and it's hard to bet on them because over the last year, if you were betting on them, you would have lost a lot of money. So let's go with the double chance and both teams to score. I think that's a good one because I do see Nottingham Forest getting on the board. Like I said, they can score when they want to. I'm not saying they're Man City. I'm not saying that they're one of these clubs that's like that. They really can't oppose their will whenever they want to and just like kind of flip a switch. But I see Nottingham Forest getting on the board. I see Chelsea getting on the board. So let's go with Chelsea rather than the money line. Chelsea and both teams to score. Let's go Chelsea double chance plus both teams to score. You get that at plus 105. So you get plus money on that, and that should make you pretty happy. Next up, we got Man City going up against Fulham at the Etihad. And this is a game that I probably stick away from. Whenever you have Man City on the board, it's always going to be a challenge to find a bet that is worth your while, that has value, that is going to not only offer the right risk reward, but that's going to offer a value that's worth your time when you can allocate your money elsewhere. So looking at this one, Fulham is a team that really I go back and forth with. They're definitely a team that plays hard and that that can give you a run for your money, but usually come up just a bit short. I think that's because really, especially with Mitrovic now gone and taken his talents to Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia League, they're going to have challenges scoring goals. Because that was one of their main striker, center forward players. So while they play hard and they play good defense and things of that sort, they're going to struggle to score goals. Now, just looking around and seeing what other people think about this game, I see that a lot of people think that Fulham will put one on the board, and certainly that's possible. I think it's any time that you're playing a Premier League team, they have a chance to score goals. At least put one goal on the board. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I think actually, if you look at Man City in their first three games, they've produced a clean sheet in 2 out of the 3. Man City has not had necessarily a difficult start to the season in terms of the teams that they played. Now, they did play Newcastle, which I think is a top tier team. I really do. I like them, even though they lost a game that they shouldn't have lost last week against Liverpool with them playing with 10 men. Newcastle is a squad to be reckoned with. Looking at this game, though, I do probably see a third clean sheet out of 4 games, which is impressive, no doubt about it. Man City is an impressive squad. They won the treble last year, so I don't think I'm saying anything that's controversial at all by saying they're impressive. But yeah, I do see them putting another clean sheet on the board, even with John Stones still out. It's a testament to this team's depth. It's a testament to the job that Pep Guardiola does, and it's a testament to the players that are out there. And Akanji might not play in this game either, but still, this is why they went on and picked up a Gvardiol from RB Leipzig. This is why they do that sort of things, because they want to make sure that they have that squad depth, and that they have top elite players in all aspects at all 3 levels of their squad. So, but Fulham does have a good defense, and they're good in the back. So again, I may sound like a broken record going with these these 2-leg parlays, but I think there's 2 ways to look at this matchup. You can go ahead and take the handicap, the -2 with Man City at plus 110. There's a chance that you're going to get your money back on that one because they're going to win by 2 goals. Should they win by 3 goals? Probably, but Fulham is a team that's resilient, and they don't concede a whole bunch. So looking at and again, I get burned on these under 3.5, especially there's been a lot of goals scored to start off this year. Just teams are putting goals on the board, but still, looking at the game, looking at my best bet, what I would do here, I would go with Man City and under 3.5 goals. It worked for me a couple times, last week. So let's go ahead and stick with what I think is. Then again, this is just my opinion. Man City and under 3.5, and I'm gonna roll with it. Oh, I'm probably not gonna roll with it, but that would be my best bet for this particular match. All right, one of the games that I'm looking forward to watching probably the most this week, other than Arsenal, of course, Brighton going up against Newcastle at the Amex. A matchup of two top top table teams, top half, at least. Brighton in the Europa League, Newcastle. Just found out their draw in the Champions League, which they got the hardest group with PSG, Dortmund, and AC Milan. Wow, I mean, seriously, like, come on, you got to distribute that a little bit better. I think, just for the sake of entertainment. I mean, I just don't understand why you would put that much strength in one table, in one group, I should say. But at any rate, Newcastle is a team that is coming off a heartbreaking loss last week against Liverpool. A game that they really should have won, at least draw, but lost. Wow, completely unacceptable. I don't know what happened. Dan Burn, he got caught napping a couple times. Shame on him. Honestly, shame on Newcastle. It's really a disappointment because Eddie Howe is such a great manager. He's really turned around the whole perception of that squad, of that organization. Brighton, on the other hand, love them. Love them. Love what they're doing. They're just such a well-run organization. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. We got the Cleveland Guardians here. Used to be the Cleveland Indians, and I just mentioned this in passing because, they're one of those teams, the Guardians, that they have to sell their players because they can't keep them. They don't have the money like some of the bigger clubs, the Yankees and the Dodgers and all the all them teams, big market teams. But they're always able to replenish their ranks just by their recruiting and things of that sort. That's what I kind of compare Brighton to. They're a squad where they can let go of the Alex McAllister, they can let go of the Moises Caicedos, and they just plug and play, and and they just their recruiting is just so good that they're able to compete that way. So I really like Brighton. I really like what they put together. Was really impressed to see that they picked up Ansu Fati at the end of the window here on a loan. That's really compelling. I think a guy that can be creative for them, and that could score some goals for them and things of that sort, and just help facilitate and really get them going a little bit further, as they compete for European silverware. So I really like this matchup. I think this is going to be entertaining. I think there will be goals scored. Although I wouldn't be surprised if there's not as many as people think. I see a lot of people and prognosticators predicting, like 4 or 5 goals, whatever it may be. I think that's certainly possible, but I could also see, something that's a little bit less than that. But both of these teams are going to score. Being that it's at the Amex, I think Brighton has the upper hand, obviously, in terms of the atmosphere at the stadium. But I think Newcastle is going to be really have a chip on their shoulder based on what happened last week. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for both of these teams to come out ready to play, and again, it might sound like a broken record, but I'm trying to provide the best value to you guys. I know that there's value in these plays, in these 2 leg parlays, and I'm going to keep on going with them because that's where the money's at, and that's where the value's at, and that's where the risk reward is at. So I'm going to go with Newcastle because they're actually the underdogs a little bit. I'm going to go with Newcastle double chance plus both teams to score. Now you can go the other way and go Brighton double chance, both teams to score if you think Brighton maybe has the upper hand. Really, they should. I mean, they've played a little bit better than Newcastle has, but I just think Newcastle overall is the more seasoned squad at this point, and they're the team that has more to prove, to be quite honest. So go with Newcastle double chance plus both teams to score, and that's going to be at plus 110 at BetMGM on the money that you'll get for that one. All right, guys. Next up, we got Crystal Palace going up against Wolves. This is the early game on Sunday. Well, one of the early games on Sunday, the 9 o'clock Eastern daylight time game, and yeah, this is one of the difficult games to pick from. Although it's not as tough as like the Man City one, where it's not necessarily a decision of who's going to win the game or anything like that. It's just a matter of how you're going to bet the game. I think Crystal Palace is the superior squad, with Wolves selling Nunez over to Man City, and apparently he was not willing to play for Wolves any longer. I guess he wants to go to a team where he's going to win and things of that sort, and have an opportunity to compete like in Europe, which is something that he's probably not going to get a chance to do anytime soon with Wolves, which is a team that doesn't get relegated, but that is just medals along in the middle of the table, bottom half of the table, and and things of that sort. It's just they're not their recruiting isn't quite as good. The business that they do, and they're not able, so they're not able to do as good a business. But it's really difficult for me to pick Crystal Palace to win this game, because even though Wolves is they're doing things that would seem to be counterproductive, one step forward, 2 steps back. Crystal Palace is a team that is almost similar in a way, but I think more their trajectory, while it's heading more upwards, but maybe not at a steep slope, Wolves' trajectory is heading downward, and they could even be looking at a team that's bottom 3 and relegated this season. I think that's very possible with Wolves. They looked excellent in their first game against Man United, but the last 2 games not as much, with losses to sorry, I'm bringing it up on my phone here, they won against Everton. They won against Everton last week, so I apologize for that. But they lost to Brighton, and then they lost to Man United in a game that they looked like they could at least draw. So, I mean, it hasn't been as bad, I guess, as I thought for Wolves, but it hasn't been as good either. And they're really a team that, again, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, especially in terms of their business. So I would look at this Crystal Palace, definitely on the double chance. And these are 2 teams that play more defense than I think they do offense. So I think this is another one where you can look at it and say, okay, well, we got the Crystal Palace on the double chance, but now where else can we get value? And I think where you could probably do that is on the Crystal Palace or tie and both teams to score. There we are again. I think there is some risk, so this is one of my least favorite games, if not my least favorite game to bet on, because of the value standpoint. But I can't pick Crystal Palace on the money line, because I could easily, you just never know when Wolves is going to show up and on the road and pull up with a draw, and it just surprises the hell out of everyone. So let's go with Crystal Palace. Let's go with them on the double chance, and let's go with both teams to score. All right, second to last game, we got Liverpool going up against Aston Villa, 2 clubs that I like. It's probably my either second or third favorite game of the week. Should be a very entertaining game. So Liverpool is at Anfield. Aston Villa is a team that's on the up and up. they got some players that that can score. They're a really good team. I like them. They're going to compete in the Europa Conference League this year, and they might be able to up that standing this year and maybe even qualify for the Europa League or better. I think that the top four finish might be asking a little bit too much. Liverpool, on the other hand, I think they're expected to finish in that fashion. So. Looking at this matchup, I think last week's matchup and win with 10 guys on the pitch was a big morale boost for Liverpool, which is a team that if they lose that game, maybe they're heading in a different trajectory. I don't think they're heading in a trajectory where like they're going to be relegated or anything like that. But maybe one in which they flounder for a few games or something like that. But with that win, I think that's really going to propel them forward and into this matchup. Again, this is a good Aston Villa team. This is a team that can win a game against any squad out there, even the Man Cities of the world. But I like Liverpool in this game. I like them to come out on top, being that they're at Anfield and they got their home crowd behind them. So with that being said, I would take Liverpool in this game. I think you see a guy like Darwin Nunez, that's reinvigorated. I think with Salah, he's shown that the club, they're not going to let him go. They want him on the team, and they want him to his leadership and things of that sort, and it's scoring. That even he might be 31, but he's still scoring goals at a prolific rate. So. I like Liverpool in this one. I'm going to go with the two-leg parlays here that I usually do. I'm going to go with Liverpool plus both teams to score. I do see Aston Villa getting on the board, and that's plus 160 BetMGM. But hey, I like the Liverpool plus under 3.5 on this one. I really do. I mean, if it was under Liverpool and under 4.5, I like it a little bit better. But just looking at the risk reward, I think it's worth it to just take Liverpool and both teams to score. That way, you don't have to worry about how many goals are scored. But 3-0, 2-1. I mean, but this game could easily be 3-1. That's why I would go with the both teams to score. Instead of the under 3.5. So Liverpool and both teams to score. All right, last matchup. It's the game of the week, folks. This is the one I'm looking forward to. Really, really looking forward to Sunday at 11:30 Eastern. Arsenal going up against United. This is an important matchup, especially for Arsenal. They can't lose this game. I would say really they can't draw in this game. They need to come away with the all 3 points. That's going to be really, really important because otherwise their fans are probably, which I'm one, counted among them. They're really going to they're gonna lose it, man. They're going to just all hell's gonna break loose. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but they're going to really be questioning things. I see a lot of the finger pointing already. Mikel Arteta, what's he doing? Kai Havertz, what the hell is he doing out there? And all this experimenting. I think it's starting to get the fans. They're starting to wonder what's going on here. Is this did we buy in too soon? Are expectations too high? I don't think they're too high. I think it's just a team that's listen, when here I go talking about Cleveland sports again, but when LeBron James came back to this team in 2014 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, everyone thought it was going to be okay. We got Kyrie, we got LeBron, we got Kevin Love, we got all these role players. We got this guy, that guy. We're just going to steamroll all these teams, and we're just going to win 70 games a year and compete for championship every year. And we did compete for championships every year, but it wasn't all butterflies and all. I don't even know what butterfly. I don't know what that means, but it wasn't all just joy from the beginning. There was a lot of tough times in those early days, and we lost. There was the coach. We're going to fire him, and is it really going to work? What's going on here? Is this team going to actually get it together? They're going to flip a switch? What happening? People were panicking, and then it's at a certain point they got it together, but it didn't happen overnight. Is what I'm getting at. It takes time for teams to players on a team to build that chemistry that's needed in order to, hey, I know where this guy's going to be. I'm going to hit this ball over here. He's going to be there. And, for them to get to know each other and all their tendencies and things of that sort. So I think that's what's happening with Arsenal right now. It's not that they're playing bad. I mean, they haven't lost a game. It's just with the draw and the not winning in a fashion, not dominating teams like I think a lot of the fans expected, and I think that's what it can be attributed to. You got to give this team time to gel, and once they do, I think this, watch out. This team's going to be really, really good, and they're going to compete for a Premier League title. Which, God, I hope they win it. I don't mind City, but I really, really hope Arsenal one day wins that Premier League. I think that would be great for their fans. I think that would be great for the league, and I think that would be great for football altogether. So I do like Arsenal in this game. I think they're going to win. I think they need to win, and I think the players know that. I think the coaches know that. Man United, on the other hand, I guess they have a say so as well. But Man United is struggling. They are struggling. I hear a lot of talk about Ten Hag on that side of things, and hey, is this the guy now or whatever, so on and so forth, yada yada yada. But I think they're going to be okay as well. Now, are they going to compete for a top 4 spot? Yeah, probably, but they're going to have competition this year in the likes of Liverpool and Newcastle and Villa and Brighton even. So, looking at this game, here we go. I'm coming back to listen. I'm going to be a broken record quite a bit here, going forward. Arsenal and both teams to score. I mean, it's pretty simple. That's where the value is. Is there risk? Sure. But I think this has a pretty good likelihood of also paying out. So Arsenal and both teams to score. That's plus 190. You bet $10, you get 19 back. Plus your 10. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm going with. I like this bet, and I think it's going to pay off. Arsenal and both teams to score. All right, folks, that's all she wrote. I just want to say, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell. Show the kids some love. Definitely putting a lot of work into the videos. And the ultimate goal is to help you guys make some money. But I would like to grow this channel. I'd like to, be able to spend more time. The more that it grows, the more I'll be able to. I'll be motivated to spend time, get videos out. But I appreciate it, guys. Most importantly, hopefully these videos help make some money. I think these are good picks. I believe in these picks, and again, the ultimate goal is to make money together. So please comment down below, and we'll see you guys next time. Good luck and have a good weekend.